Stop me if this sounds familiar. You've been managing projects for years. You know your stuff, and then you sit down with practice PMP questions, you read it, and you think, this is easy. You pick the answer any smart, experienced PM would choose, and you get it wrong. Not because you don't know project management, but because PMI isn't testing what you know, they're testing how you think. Welcome to Think First. 5 questions, 3 domains, 30 seconds each. Here's the filter I want you running through on every single question before you pick an answer. What is the PM actually responsible for here? What do the clues in the scenario point to? And is this a first, a next, or a do? I won't tell you the answer to any of the things before you read the question. That's on you. The question stays right there on the screen the whole time, so actually work it. 30-second timer will be displayed on the screen. If you need more time, pause the video. Ready to go? Let's play. Question 1 comes from the process domain. Run it through the filter. What is the PM responsible for? What do the clues point to? And is this a first, next, or do question? Be careful and make sure you understand what the question is asking for. Here's the scenario. 30-second timer starts now. Pause the video if you need more time. Time. The answer is D. Immediately stop acceptance of unauthorized scope work and require every new request to go through the change control process before work begins. And here's why. Unauthorized scope work is still happening. You cannot fix a leak by mopping the floor. You have to turn off the tap first. Run it back through the filter. What's the PM responsible for? Protecting the integrity of the change control process, not just cleaning up records after the fact. And what do the clues point to? New requests are still being accepted. Work is still starting without review. That's active, not historical. Is this a first, next, or a do? It's a first. Before anything else happens, the inflow has to stop. Let's go through the others. C. Escalating to the change control board for a scope reduction sounds proactive, but it doesn't stop the bleeding today. B. Accepting the additions as sunk cost and rebaselining, that doesn't fix anything. It just tells your team scope creep is acceptable if it happens quietly enough. And A. Audit and document the 14 additions first. That's the one that gets people. Real world brain says, fix the record, quantify the damage, be thorough. PMI brain says, while you're auditing, new unauthorized work is still coming in the door. The problem keeps growing while you're busy documenting it. There's the trap. The PMI decision rule, stop the inflow before you reconstruct the past. Question 2 also comes from the process domain. Same filter, run through it before you look. Responsibility, clues, and first, next, or do. Here's the scenario. 30-second timer starts now. If you need more time, pause the video. Time. The answer to this question is B. Present the 14 to 17 month range with confidence levels and recommend 17 months, the P80 date, as the board commitment. Here's why. Monte Carlo results are probabilistic. Presenting one date without its confidence level creates false precision. But the sponsor also asked for an actual date. Showing a range without recommending one doesn't answer the question either. B does both. Let's work back through the filter. What's the PM responsible for? Protecting the organization's credibility with honest forecasting, not just answering the literal question that was asked. What do the clues point to? This organization has already been burned by missed commitments. That changes how much risk you can responsibly recommend. Is this a first, next, or a do question? It's a do question. What should the PM actually put in front of the board given everything they know? D, continuing to report the original 13-month estimate ignores the new data entirely. That's not defensible once better information exists. C, committing to 17 months without showing the range gets the numbers right but hides the uncertainty, which is exactly what got this organization burned before. And A, committing to 14 months because it's the P50, that's the one. Real world brain says 14 months is the midpoint of the forecast, so it feels like the most balanced commitment. PMI brain says P50 still leaves half of the simulated outcomes finishing later. Given this organization's damaged credibility, that's not a commitment risk worth taking. And there's the trap. The PMI decision rule here: show the range, then recommend a commitment that matches how much risk this organization can actually stomach. Question 3 comes from the people domain. Run it through the filter first. What are the project manager's responsibilities? What clues are presented in the question? And is this a first, next, or do question? Here's the scenario. The 30-second clock starts now. Pause the video if you need more time. Time. The answer to this question is C. Distribute the written stories in advance. Then use the live refinement session for clarification, discussion, and estimation. And here's why. The root problem isn't ability, it's timing. People are estimating off partial comprehension because they're processing in real time. Give them the material ahead of time and the live session still gets to do its job. Discussion, shared understanding, and collaborative estimation. Let's run this question back through the filter. What's the PM responsible for here? Making sure every team member can participate effectively, not just accommodating the symptom that's easiest to see. What do the clues point to? Estimates improve the moment written material is available in advance. That tells you exactly where the barrier actually lives. And is this a first, next, or a do question? This question here is a do, the right structural fix, not an emergency stop. So let's take a look at why the other answers are wrong. We'll start with B. Going written only forever solves the comprehension gap by deleting collaboration entirely. That's not a fix, that's giving up on the ceremony. D. Applying a standard adjustment factor to non-native speakers' estimates doesn't fix anything. It just quietly, mathematically papers over a real problem every single sprint. And assigning a bilingual teammate to translate live, that's the trap. Real world brain says solve it right now. Get everyone estimating together today. PMI brain says now you've built a single point of failure. One person becomes a permanent dependency and you still haven't touched the actual process. And that's the trap. The PMI decision rule here: remove the barrier through process design, not a permanent individual workaround. All right, moving on to question 4. And this one is in the people domain. Let's make sure that we use our filter effectively here every time. Project manager responsibility. What are the clues? And is this a first, next, or a do question? Here's the scenario. 30-second timer starts now. Pause the video if you need more time. Time. The correct answer to this question is D. Agree on a concrete improvement action, place it in the next sprint backlog, and define clear ownership and completion criteria. So here's why. This was never an awareness problem. The team has said the same thing 4 times. They know exactly what's wrong. What's missing is execution structure. This doesn't mean the Scrum Master assigns the work unilaterally. The team agrees to the improvement and makes it part of its own sprint plan. That's what turns insight into something that actually gets tracked with the same discipline as every other piece of delivery work. Let's run this back through the filter. What's the project manager responsible for? Turning insight into actual delivered change, not just facilitating another conversation about it. What do the clues point to? 4 consecutive retrospectives, 0 execution. That's not a priority problem, it's a structure problem. And is this a first, next, or do question? It's a next question. The team already agrees on the issue, so what's the next structural move? Let's take a look at why the other answers are wrong. B, escalating to leadership, undermines the whole point of a self-managing team, and it's premature. Nobody tried structural accountability yet. C, pulling the item off the retrospective agenda until the team raises it themselves. That's not patience, that's avoidance. The problem doesn't disappear because you stopped talking about it. And A, asking the team to vote again on whether it's really a priority. That's the trap. Your real world brain says, maybe they don't actually care. Let's recheck. PMI brain says, they've already told you it matters. 4 separate times. Voting again just reopens a decision that's already been made and never executed. And that's the trap. The PMI decision rule here: repeated insight without change means you convert it into visible, team-owned, testable work. Okay, moving on to our final question. Question 5 comes to us from the business environment domain. Same filter. Project manager responsibility. What are the clues? And is this a first, next, or do question? Here's the scenario. The 30-second clock starts now. If you need more time, pause the video. Time. The correct answer here is A. Perform a full compliance and delivery impact assessment, engage legal and the client, review any contractual relief that actually applies, and integrate the work into an approved revised plan. Here's why. This regulatory change touches scope, schedule, cost, risk, and your contract all at once. You don't get to solve that with a single unilateral move. You assess it fully, bring in the people with actual authority over legal and contractual decisions, and build the response properly around that. One nuance worth saying out loud: if legal or compliance flags something that needs urgent containment right now, that happens immediately, in parallel. Full assessment first doesn't mean frozen and passive. It means every other decision routes through it. Let's run this through the filter. What's the PM responsible for? Protecting total project value, not just protecting the schedule metric. And what do the clues point to? Legal has already confirmed the law applies. This isn't a maybe, it's confirmed. Is this a first, next, or do question? It behaves like a first because the correct approach begins with impact assessment before the team commits to the broader response. So why are the other questions incorrect? B. Starting compliance engineering immediately in parallel without looping in the client or legal. It feels proactive, but you've just created unauthorized scope and budget changes on your own authority. C. Asking legal to seek an extension and deferring all project changes until the regulator responds puts the entire response on hold while pursuing an uncertain remedy. Legal should absolutely assess that option, but the project can't stay passive while the effective date keeps approaching. And D. Proceed with the original go live and patch compliance after launch. That's the trap. Your real world brain says protect the schedule, avoid the $200,000 penalty, patch it after. PMI Brain says going live non-compliant with an active data protection law exposes the organization to regulatory and legal consequences that can dwarf a contractual penalty. You're optimizing for the visible number while ignoring the constraint that actually matters the most. 5 questions, 5 traps, and none of the wrong answers were ridiculous. Each one addressed a real concern, but usually in the wrong order, without the right authority, or without enough assessment. That's what makes these questions hard. Experience still matters. This exam is testing whether you can apply that experience with disciplined sequencing, role clarity, and judgment. And that's learnable. Comment below and let me know how you did. And if you want to see this format again with a longer round, let me know that too. And if there's any specific questions that you want us to take a look at in future episodes, let us know below in the comments. I'm Stephen Blakeney, and this has been Think First. I will see you in the next episode.